All right, everyone, we are going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar is 10 tips in 15 minutes. And we want to be very respectful of your time. We know that everybody is very busy right now, and we want to stick to this time schedule here. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to do introductions, and then we're going to get started on the 10 tips. A little bit of housekeeping. The session will be recorded, and we'll be sending out an email later with the link to the session as well as the slides. So I'm going to do the introductions of Linsey and Sandra, and then we'll turn the time over to them for the 10 tips in 15 minutes. We also have a question we would love for you to answer for us in the chat box. And we want to ask, what tips have you seen that have inspired you? Either tips that you've seen in your district or tips that you've seen in neighboring districts. We've culled about 10 tips here. We had probably 20 as we were working on this, but we'd love to hear the great things that you've seen, that you've been doing. We just know that there's been so much great work being done, and we want to share that. Then after that, we will wrap up and get you back to your day. So again, put in the chat, what are some tips that you've seen that has inspired you during this time? We've seen a lot of creativity, a lot of fantastic pictures on social media. We'd love to hear what you've seen. So please put that in chat, and then we'll review that and send that out as well when we send out the email later. So by way of introduction, Linsey LaPlant is our regional sales manager here at Healthy Pro, formerly a Washington State program reviewer, and she worked as a dietitian manager in a large school district in Washington State, and she enjoys helping child nutrition operators run efficient, compliant, and profitable programs. Sandra Meister is our new customer success coach here at Healthy Pro. She was is a registered dietitian with over 10 years of experience in public health and a former child nutrition manager in a large district in Texas. She enjoys the light bulb moments when training first-time Healthy Pro users when something clicks. So without further ado, Linsey, Sandra, take it away.
All right, thanks, Laura. So here we go. Tip number 1 is about taking pictures. And taking pictures of food can definitely be a real art form, but there are a lot of resources out there about the best way to take pictures of food. So our first tip is to add a photo to standardized recipes. So this ensures that no matter who is preparing the recipe, the goal of what the end product is intended to look like is there for everyone to see. You can take a picture on the plate or tray that it's being served on, or in the pan or bowl for family style and cafeteria style service, and everyone is on the same page. Same photos of those recipes then can also be used to show parents, students, and staff what's coming up on your menu, posting on social media or on your organization's website. And if you really need tips on how to take pictures of food, it's really simple. Just Google taking photos of food, and Food Photography 101 and some other great tutorial articles will pop up. And as the slide says, we think that a picture is worth 1,000 words when showing the nutritious and delicious meals that you serve.
All right, tip number 2. So this is about taking pictures sort of in the back of the house. We know that this year with COVID and everything that's going on, that some states are waiving the on-site reviews. So there may be more of a focus on organized documentation on the back end for an off-site review. So based on feedback from a couple of our success team ladies who are reviewers on the side, audit reviewers, getting pictures of labels seems to be kind of the last minute stressful thing. So divide and conquer, stay audit ready. Use your phones, take pictures of the labels as they come in, especially if you are getting substitutions with COVID. During monthly inventory, you can take pictures and then upload those into a Google Doc or right into Healthy Pro. So if you're a Healthy Pro user, you can upload that as a PDF right into Healthy Pro and be audit ready.
All right, is anyone planning to celebrate National School Lunch Week? Tip number 3. National School Lunch Week is celebrated every year in October. It's now an act of Congress, originally created by President Kennedy back in 1962 to promote good nutrition in school. This year, it's celebrated the week of October 12th, but really you can celebrate any week if that week doesn't work for you for one reason or another. The theme is now playing school lunch. It's a movie theme, so thinking lights, camera, and action. And again, no need to reinvent the wheel here. There are a ton of resources out there Really, during National School Lunch Week, the goals are to increase your participation, spread the good news about the meals that you're serving out to parents and your administrator. There's lots of tools there, even done for you marketing and some PR resources, social media and press releases. The school nutrition website is listed there on the slide, has lots of great ideas, including a toolkit with handouts, contest ideas, and prizes as well. For those of you serving on campus, it can be really easy, but still doable for those of you that are serving curbside, and to those remote learners as well, including some recipes, action, word searches, some of the other handouts and tools that are in there. And for me, movies have been a really big deal at my house during quarantine with my 3 boys. So I think this topic fits right in with 2020.
Okay, tip number 4 is surveying. It's a great thing to do surveys, especially online right now, to see what your parents are looking for at this time, what students are looking for. And on our website, if you haven't checked it out, we do have a COVID-19 resource page with a video on how to create a Google form. So this can be used for a survey. For example, if you are looking to increase participation, maybe your grab and go hasn't seen the participation that it used to, you could send out a Google form and get some feedback from parents. You know, what would they want to see to be able to come to that grab and go more often? Maybe there's transportation issues. Maybe, you know, they have many kids and getting them in the car is a lot. So you can get tons of great feedback from parents and from students by using Google Forms.
All right, next up is about samples. Is anyone else missing those samples at Costco or your local Sam's Club? Really one of the best parts about going. But samples are a great way to increase participation on a day when you may be serving something for the first time. It introduces kids to the item ahead of time, gets them excited about the new item prior to the day that it's served, and also kind of puts them in the know about what you're planning on and what's upcoming. Easy to do when the kids are on campus, a little bit harder with curbside, but still doable if the kids are in the car. And I've heard a lot of folks say that some of the items that they've chosen to serve curbside have gone over so well that they're going to put those same items on the menu back when everybody's back at school. And so knowing not everybody's participating during curbside service, doing samples right as the kids are coming back is another great way to get them back introduced into school lunch and school breakfast right as kids are coming back. These photos here are some pictures of sample cups and food on a tray from a district that's in Mississippi that was posted on social media. It looks great. Really, again, you can keep it simple. No need for a survey, especially for those younger grades. Whoever is passing those samples out will really get a good idea from students' reactions about how it's going to go over.
And tip number 6 is communication. With so many things that are going on right now and currently changing, it's important to use all of those communication channels that you have. Social media is great, especially if your school has a Facebook page or even your child nutrition program has a Facebook page. Have fun with it. We have a ton of resources, like I mentioned earlier, on our Healthy Pro website, the COVID-19 page, and others. We have these really cute little icons. Remain calm, you're a superhero, really cute there, that you could add to a Facebook page or even your website or menu. If you are a Healthy Pro user, we also have a lot of different sidebars that you can plug into your online My School menus that parents can see. So have fun with it. Don't be afraid to brag about your program and use social media to your advantage.
All right, next up is cycle menus. Cycle menus, I know a lot of people will roll their eyes talking about cycle menus, and it's definitely not required by USDA, but wow, can it save you a ton of time. It makes things so much easier, and everybody right now really is looking at trying to save time, especially those that might be choosing to serve under the summer food service program waiver this fall. You can figure out compliance once for your meal pattern for the cycle menu, and then you're done. It can increase those staff efficiencies. figuring out, you know, do you have enough equipment, cooking space, and what's it like for serving? Do all these items together need 5 people on the serving line in order to get the kids through the line? So all of those things can be figured out with a cycle menu so that it's not a surprise next time that things come around. And then also cost control and waste. So thinking about forecasting with the cycle menu as well. I've heard that a lot of people, not knowing what the fall is going to look like, whether it be in person or remote, decided to create a cycle menu that can be used really for both during those COVID closures as well as for regular in-person service. It makes a great comparison for later, and also then doesn't require a complete overhaul when your service style changes. So for example, using something like a burrito, it's something that could be pre-made, it's easy to wrap, easy to transport, and eventually can be served in the cafeteria or classroom service as well.
Okay, bulk meals. It's something that we've seen as kind of a trend across the country for grab and go, having parents come once or twice a week and getting several days worth of meals. This has been a real cost saver on campus, and also it feels like you're getting groceries for the parents. So it's a great option. Either way, whether you do bulk meals or in cartons of milk or boxes of cereal, or individual units, you could send recipes. This is a really good idea we got from a school out there, that's sending recipes on how to use these items in different ways. So for example, if they had a peanut butter cup, a banana, and cereal, they could smear the peanut butter on the banana, crush up the cereal, roll the banana in there, and have something completely different. So sending recipes for new ideas.
All right, so packaging. This one seems simple, but some of you may not have thought of this, that looking for versatility in packaging, especially now that so many are going grab and go. I've heard that it has been difficult to find enough packaging for things for that curbside service. But think about it like if you're serving a sandwich, can that bag also be used for other food items? Can you put a piece of pizza that might hold hot in that kind of bag, or wrapping things together in that bag as well so that it's more versatile? Buying in bulk, of course, is always the goal. I realize that it has been difficult for some, finding things that are available, but make it easy on yourself. Plan ahead when selecting items to put on that cycle menu for the best way that things can be served across all of the locations.
And finally, tip number 10 is Feel Good Friday. It feels good to be recognized for a job well done. And sometimes when we get busy in the hustle and bustle of every day, we can forget to do that. So a Feel Good Friday theme amongst your staff could look like having an employee of the week, or just recognizing each other in your morning huddle for something that each of you did great that week, or something that went really well. So keeping the positive vibe within your team is really important. One thing that I want to share from a job previous to Healthy Pro, in our break room, we had a poster board up, and then we had these colorful sticky notes, and we would write messages to each other, or just positive quotes and things like that. And we would stick it on that board, and it became a favorite place to gather and read each other's notes. So little things like that to, again, keep that energy high and really positive environment. And with that, I will turn to Laura. Like she mentioned in the chat, we would love to hear some of the cool things that you've done with your staff for a Feel Good Friday or otherwise. So feel free to brag on your staff a little bit, and I'll hand it over to Laura.
Sandra, Linsey, thank you so much for these tips. These are awesome, and love the specific examples that you had as well. And again, if you have any cool things that you want to do to highlight your staff, feel free to put it in the chat. We have loved seeing what different districts have been doing. We've loved seeing just the great positive things that have been happening amidst all the crazy. So please feel free to share that. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. If you have any questions for Sandra, if you have any questions for Linsey, they've seen a lot of these examples in action. So please Send out any emails if you've got any questions, or let us know. Visit our website for the COVID resources. We have the Google Form video tutorial. We've got menus, we've got sidebars, we've got images you can use. Please feel free to use them. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you again next time.